wait, stop. He sells on the Pacers that he's talked hype about all season, and then buys the 76ers that we have trashed all season.
They still got Danilo Gallinari, who can just light the lamp from three-point. And then Steven Adams, yeah, he's no Bam Adebayo, but let's not talk about him like he's some slouch to forget about.
That are starting to become big-time free agents, granted, but in their childhoods, in the early 2000s, were the Knicks ever good? No. What's happening, everybody? Dribbling Around, Episode 6. Connor Glunt, Jayden Becker. I'm Dane Richardson. Guys, again, we're stretching for some news in the NBA, but some more relevant news, especially with some players opting out of the bubble. Gordon Hayward leaving for the birth of his child, as well as Victor Oladipo for the Indiana Pacers. Coming up on the show, obviously, we're going to talk about the bubble. We got a little Jayden's jump ball. Teams outside the bubble, week number 4. You're going to see what's going to happen. Best NBA trash talkers, and of course, an interview with Ithaca College guard Skylar Sinon. You're not going to want to miss that. He was a fantastic guest. So as I mentioned, more players opting out of the NBA bubble. I just mentioned Gordon Hayward, Victor Oladipo. How big of a hit are those two guys to their respective teams?
I think it's a really big hit. It's more of a mental shift as well. Obviously, you come in throughout this quarantine break and you think, all right, we're going to have a full team back. Everyone's going to be ready to go. And now you're missing some big heads that you consider leaders on your team. Even though Oladipo was out for injury for a while, still there's a guy you consider to be one of the cornerstones of this Pacers franchise. And you look at Gordon Hayward, also someone that they really want to rally behind after his injury. Was it 2 years back now? So you definitely wish you had these guys on the court. Obviously, circumstances in the world that we live in now, it's going to change that. But I think it's going to take some mental fortitude to get past it.
Yeah, both these players make their teams significantly better. And even though the Pacers didn't have Oladipo the entire season, I think many people were anticipating that, okay, maybe a healthy Oladipo can maybe help Indiana give some of the top teams in the East a scare. But Gordon Hayward is a huge loss, in my opinion, for Boston because he's not going to be leaving, I think, at the beginning of the quarantine. He's going to be leaving mid playoffs or mid regular season. So Boston's probably going to get used to having him in the rotation, and then all of a sudden they're just not going to have that extra starter that they had. So it might kind of dink them from being really legit Eastern Conference contenders or even NBA title contenders.
I think that's a great point, Connor, especially with Gordon Hayward. And again, I've talked about the Pacers a ton before. I remember when we were on VIC. I've talked about the Pacers a ton. And granted, were pretty darn good without Victor Oladipo. They had fought themselves into a middle spot in the Eastern Conference. And now all of a sudden, you're starting to get Oladipo back. And like you said, they could maybe test one of those top teams in the Eastern Conference. And now people are not going to believe in them at all. I mean, you look at I compare them with maybe Utah as teams really starting to go downhill. Obviously, the whole Gobert thing with Utah, but yeah, that's really tough for the Pacers. Kind of transitioning over to the bubble in general. The bubble, I know Skip Bayless said something, and I'm not one to agree with a lot of his takes. I'm going to come out and say that right away. But at the same time, Skip said the NBA players have all the resources they need. Listen, they're pampered, and honestly, a lot of people are saying in the basketball tournament bubble, which is sort of like a test run, they feel safer in that bubble than they do at home. And I get being away from your family is one of the toughest things to do. And I'm not saying that's not an issue because it obviously is, and players aren't playing because of it. But at the same time, these players, I think that NBA bubble is going to be one of the safest places to be in the world. And if they follow rules, I think everything should go according to plan, even if someone gets COVID, because the NBA will isolate them immediately. What do you guys think?
I think that by August, I'll agree with that take that as long as that bubble is still secure, it will be one of the most safest places probably in the country, in the world, whatever, just because all right, we'll have everyone tested as they're coming in. People who have already tested positive, they're just going to be delayed until they test negative. So by August, we're not going to see a case inside that bubble. And Dane, as you mentioned, if we do somehow get a positive case, the NBA probably already definitely has levels and layers of protocol to follow just to keep this incident isolated. So I think that the bubble is going to remain secure as long as we get through a good entry.
Jayden.
Yeah, you got to remember that it is a bubble for a reason. Like laws, NBA laws are being enforced to say, hey, we don't want COVID impeding on the rest of our season, right? And they're going to do everything in their power to try and stop that. They've done multiple testings. They've done, everything they can possibly do to make the players as comfortable as they can be, while at the same time trying to be as safe as possible during these unpredictable times, right? I remember hearing something that if you miss a COVID test before you travel to the game or travel to the bubble, you would have to wait. You're going to miss a game and you have to pass like 3 tests in a row. So they don't care if you miss a game. You're going to go there COVID free, 100%. They don't care if you're the best player in the world. You're going there COVID free. So they're going to try the humanly possible best to make sure that it is safe as possible. So I do have hope for it. But at the same time, when families start to get brought in, when you're adding a lot more variables, and it is going to be a difficult process, but at least it's a process that they're going to have to try.
And these are young guys, a lot of young guys with a lot of money that most people their age obviously don't have. And players have said it. They think players aren't going to adhere to the rules. There's not everyone is going to follow the exact rules that are supposed to be followed. And that's the potential danger of this. You don't want a dumb action by a young player or two to ruin everything that's going on. And there's the potential for that happening. And don't get me wrong, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But there's definitely the chance of that. We just talked about inside the bubble, teams outside the bubble, week number 4. This week we're going to talk about the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine really came out as a star there this year. He had some really good moments, of course, one of the best dunkers in the NBA. Lauri Markkanen's a nice piece. But again, we talked about Charlotte last week, and they were really stuck in that middle ground, sort of toward the bottom of the Eastern Conference. What's the direction for this Bulls team, Jayden?
Listen, I think it's going to have to come from the draft, and I know I say that a lot. But with a lot of these, with the way that the NBA is going, a lot of players are trying to gravitate themselves towards playoff teams, right? They're not trying to build it themselves, unless you're trying to make a name for yourself in that sense. But I think you once again have to build from the draft. I think they're going to go small. I think they're going to go guard or shooting guard, wherever they feel most necessary, right? And once again, it depends on where those ping pong balls go, because it can really go really well for them. Let's say they end up with the top 3 pick, and now you really have a ton to pick from it. But if you fall down, maybe down to what I think their seeded spot is 7. Is that the right number? So if they fall down or even stay somewhere around that line, you might be stuck drafting international. But at the same time, we've seen that work in the past. So they have options. I do think they go small. But if they can afford something, I think they might be able to grab some free agents as well.
I think they're going to go target wing in the draft no matter where the ping pong balls land, just because you mentioned Kobe White really was stepping up at the end of the season. So I think he's the point guard of the future for them. Obviously, Zach LaVine is probably on that fringe all-star level, and that's probably where he's going to stay for most of his career, unless he has a really good season or two, because he's the leading scorer for them. But hey, I'm not calling Zach LaVine a perennial all-star by any means. But then also Lauri Markkanen, whether or not he remains a Chicago Bull, because he's been floated around in trade rumors. And then Wendell Carter Jr. is really a forgotten about kind of guy, just because he hasn't been able to stay on the court due to injuries. But when he's on, his impact around the rim, offensively and defensively, has been really good for this team. So the one really piece that they're lacking is, I think, that wing that they can get through the draft, no matter where the ping pong balls land.
A lot of people forget Zach LaVine averaged 25.5 points per game this year. That guy was a straight-up bucket. And you mentioned Wendell Carter Jr., Connor. He was really overshadowed kind of by Marvin Bagley, Grayson Allen in his career when he was at Duke. He was, of course, another one and done. And again, he needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay on the floor. And it's pretty much written that this guy needs to stay healthy, stay on the court, because he can make an impact. Now, the last question I have for you about the Bulls, a little bit of a shorter teams outside the bubble, because there's not many interesting kind of hot topics to talk about with this team. But in the next 3 years, do you think this team could make the playoffs?
I
I'm
can
going to
see
go
it.
no.
If they were in the West, no. Since they're in the East, yes.
I no, I could see it. It depends like how they feel or how they address head coaching. But I think that they have enough promising pieces, and we're talking 3 years. We're just giving extra experience to Wendell Carter Jr. and Kobe White to develop their game. I think Kobe White is going to pair really well in 3 years from now with Zach LaVine as the prolific scorer as that leading scorer for the team. So yeah, 3 years from now, Chicago will be probably the 6 to 8 seed.
I think they need a proven star. Unless one of them forms into a star in the league, and obviously you can talk about LaVine, but I don't think he's a pop culture star, not a
Well, no,
basketball
he's
star,
not the
if
star
makes
that
sense,
like
you know?
say Boston has with Tatum.
Chicago's
Yeah.
a proven attraction, though, so that you have that.
That's what I'm saying. That's
The
what I'm
city of
saying.
Chicago.
I think that yeah.
But if you're Zach LaVine, if this team continues to lose for the next couple of years and you're having sort of these fringe all-star seasons, you're averaging 25-plus points a game, why do you want to stay in Chicago if you're going to lose and you're going to be out of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, which could be a problem in the future, saying, hey, I want to either be traded or I'm going to leave.
It depends. It's really that's really all up to him, you know, like I doubt they ship him out of there on a trade unless he makes himself known that he wants to leave, and then that's the only way I see them shipping him out on a trade or something like that. But you know, unless they can trade him out of there and then get a piece or like, you know, a star piece that really could be considered a star in the league. That's something that Chicago's been missing since Derrick Rose.
And LaVine, really, if they can get a piece, and this is if he wants a trade, and he doesn't right now, and we're just speculating, obviously, but he looks like he could be sort of that third piece to a championship team.
Oh, yeah.
Alongside two stars. Absolutely. He's a guy that has really improved, started his career in Minnesota, and everyone was all Andrew Wiggins. I believe Karl Anthony Towns early in his career was with Zach LaVine. Those two guys, and Zach LaVine really played third fiddle, and now he has a chance to come to Chicago, really be that leading guy, showcase what he can do. Yes, they're not a playoff team, but at the same time, he's really elevating his career, and maybe that could help him out in the future and bring him to a contender. Enough with teams outside the bubble. As I mentioned earlier at the start of our show, we had our first guest here on Dribblin' Around. It was Ithaca College guard, rising junior Skylar Sinon. A fantastic interview. Without further ado, let's send it over to that.
Hello and welcome to our very first interview on Dribblin' Around. Thank you for joining us, Ithaca basketball guard Skylar Sinon. Skylar, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
So I got to ask you first, Connor, before you go, how's quarantine been treating you?
It's been good. I mean, trying to stay busy. Been shooting around, playing basketball, working out, and you know, just doing what I can, trying to stay busy, stay productive.
Great to hear. How has your off season been kind of adjusted so far with all of this quarantine being in effect?
Well, I mean, it's difficult, especially like meeting the guys and stuff, because we have new freshmen coming on. So normally we'd have them come up to campus, we'd scrimmage, hang out for a little bit. So it's annoying that way. We've been doing like conference calls and video calls and trying to make the new guys feel welcomed. And, you know, just we try to do online workouts with each other. So it's definitely been different, but we've been able to keep up.
Now, I got to ask you, have you had any talks? I know it's a long way away, but the season for next year, obviously you're a little unsure about it. Have you had any talks with Coach Burton about potential things that could be different next season?
Yeah. Well, so obviously it's all up in the air right now. No one really knows what's going to happen. There's a possibility it might be league play. Like we might only be playing the teams in our league. I'm trying to, you know, glass half full kind of guy. So if we can play some kind of basketball this season, I'm good with that. So.
And the Liberty League, it's I know some of the top teams, such as you have yourself returning. I know you have some few other guys returning, but RPI has some good players returning, as does Hobart. So it'll be a challenging league. Now, a follow-up question I had, I just mentioned Coach Burton. Obviously, it's his first year as head coach. So what are some of those main differences? Coach Mullins, Coach Burton, who do you like one more than the other? You don't really have to tell us that.
Not going to go there. Not going to go there.
But you got any differences?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was great having them. They kind of are like opposite ends of the spectrum, I would say, for like coaching wise. Burton is a lot more like newer kind of basketball, fast paced kind of. He likes to talk, whereas Mullins is always kind of like the quiet guy, talks when he needs to, is an old fashioned kind of mind. But I mean, having them both, I mean, was a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how Burton's going to change things up next year, but I don't know. I think he's going to do a good job, and I'm excited to see it.
Awesome.
I know you mentioned that normally recruits come up to campus. Have any of them reached out to you during the recruitment process?
Yeah, well, we reach out to them too, especially like returning guys, older guys like my age, especially our seniors now. We'll reach out to the guys when they're trying to make the decision. Hopefully we can like steer them in the right direction. Because it's also hard because like kids sometimes don't even get to visit the school now. They take like online tours, which is how they have to decide, which is rough. But I mean, we've been helping as much as we can. We talked to some of the guys. They're nice guys, excited to see them.
Now, there's a lot of you. Sorry, cutting you off there, Jayden, but there's 6 or 7 coming in. I know you're only losing 3 guys, I think, depending on transfers, but there's a ton of freshmen coming in.
Yeah, I think we're at 19 right now for like total for our team, which is more than it has been. I remember my freshman year originally we had 17, which I still thought was a lot, but now we got 19. So we got a lot of guys to work with. It'll be a lot of fun practices, get to scrimmage a lot. But yeah, a lot of new freshmen, and then we have one transfer who was a sophomore at Fordham. So he'll be older too, which is exciting.
Hey, Skylar, so we used to cover you guys during your season, and you pull up to Ben Light, and you would see you, Sebastian, and Riley, the 3 main guys really spearheading that team. What did they teach you? What were some things that you caught on from them that helped you with your game?
I mean, they're just winners. They just love to win. Like in practice, like even in practice and in games, they're just like they'll do anything they can to win. I mean, sometimes at practice it gets heated because everyone wants to win, but they know how to put like the team first, and they know how to win. I think that's probably just being aggressive and playing smart. It's probably what I learned most.
Yeah, don't go taking no 50-foot shots like Riley. That was a little scary sometimes.
Did not learn that from him. So not going to be doing that.
I got to ask you, Sebastian sometimes would throw down. Can you dunk?
No, I can dunk. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't – I'm not really a big guy like Sebastian who can just take it to the basket and throw it down, but on a good day, yeah.
Okay, on a good day. So I'm hoping we can see it in a game next year. If we're covering the game, Jayden and I will be ready to call that. You get a steal, break away those quick hands. You better throw it down for us, all right?
Goal. That's the goal.
Yeah, we want to point up to the balcony area as well. Yeah, 100%. Got to shout us out. Big heart as well, okay? Hey, you're going to be a junior next year, and obviously that comes with some leadership, right? So who do you think, obviously now with a couple of seniors and a couple of guys from the starting lineup now moving on after the NCAA, who do you think is going to step up with you in that leadership role?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think that our team last year was so close and so well knit together that I think everyone kind of knows where they fit. I think that especially coming up, we have a lot of point guards on our team, which is great because all our point guards understand the game. And I think especially this year, like Zach Warwick, George Sikoriak are definitely going to come out as leaders of the team a little bit more. They did a lot of work last season too that may not always have been seen, but I'm excited to see what they're going to bring to the table this year, and I know that they have the ability and the knowledge to do so.
So kind of switching gears, but also staying on the topic of Sebastian, when I interviewed him for his 1,000-point article on the Ithacan self-plug right there, he said that his pregame playlist is filled with Lil Baby. So who helps you get in the mood?
I'm like I'm a country fan, so I listen.
Whew.
Oh, you just made one guy really
Yes,
happy.
okay, okay. You gotta
really,
give
really
me.
happy.
Okay, you gotta be more specific here because I'm into certain artists. So keep going, keep going.
A lot of Morgan Wallen. He's my go-to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Old Dominion.
They're
But
pretty good. Yep.
I listen to a lot of relaxing, like country music. I don't like to get hyped necessarily. I kind of like to calm down before a game. But yeah.
All right. I like those two, Morgan Whalen, Old Dominion. I'm a big Thomas Rhett guy as well.
Right, yeah.
Dan and Shay's pretty good. I know some of them are a little like girly songs a lot, like love songs and stuff like that. But trust me, I'm into country. I got some rap too. We had a debate last night. We were on a
Don't
group
go
call,
this route.
and we were talking all this rap stuff. But we're not gonna get.
I'm from Queens, so you guys talk all this country stuff, whew, right over my head. I'm not even close. Yeah, you'll never hear any country out of me.
Getting off our topic. Who gets the aux in the locker room next year?
Oh, next year.
Yeah, next year. Who got it? Who was this year and who's next year?
This year was, I want to say either Jake or Seabass. Oh, Seabass always had his own thing. So he either blast on the speaker, or if he was by himself, he'd have headphones in like hours before the game, just like getting locked in. Next year, I'm never allowed to touch the aux because I like country. So I'm never allowed to hop on. When I do, I play some country, but it's very rare. I would say George probably. George is probably going to be on the aux a lot next year.
Okay.
What's he going to be playing?
I don't know. It's
Just not country. That's all that matters.
yeah.
Hey, you talked about pregame and pregame rituals. Do you have anything that you do in particular that may be a little different, a little superstitious, something that you do to give yourself luck before a game?
Yeah, kind of. Well, I had an injury like a while ago. I kind of like sprained my finger at the beginning of the season. So I had it taped up, and it feels a lot better. It doesn't really bother me as much, but I kind of just keep it taped up because I don't know. We kept on winning, and I'm like, all right, I'll keep it that way. So I always tape my finger up on my left hand, just superstitious.
What finger is it again? Is it your pointer finger? Or?
It's my ring finger on my left hand. So then this way it doesn't really affect my shot, and then I can dribble fine with it. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
So I know you've got the Wake Forest CP3 jersey. Are you a jersey collector or a sneakerhead?
If I had to choose one of the two, probably jersey collector.
Do you have any like other kind of vintage jerseys outside of that CP3 one?
Oh yeah, I got a Derrick Rose Memphis one.
Ooh,
which is
nice.
nice.
That's heat.
Yeah. I'm also a Knicks fan, so I have the City Edition RJ Barrett jersey.
Oh, nice.
And
That's a
then,
solid one.
And then I have one more. What's my one? Oh, I have a Derrick Rose USA jersey.
Okay, so you're a big D Rose guy too.
Yeah, I like D Rose, especially when he was on the Knicks, but then he kind of wasn't that good.
I mean, those best days were with Chicago. We all know that. Know that.
Yeah, that's a given.
Now, a question I wanted to ask you. Now, you might have to think about this one a little bit, but do you have a funniest moment through your first 2 years with Ithaca College basketball? Now, I know, like, maybe there's ones that you shouldn't share, but one that you could share with us.
Oh, that is tough. I don't know. You got to put me on the spot. One funny story. Oh gosh, I don't even. All right, there was one time where Coach will like talk, I guess, like about like certain things. I'll be serious, but then he just has a voice crack every once in a while. It's kind of like we all pretend it didn't happen, but we all know it happened, and I don't know. That's just something small that there's so many things that happen. I can't think of like a funny story.
Gotcha.
They switch gears a little bit. If you had to go around your team and they had to give you one word to describe who you are, what do you think they would say?
Sarcastic.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What makes you say that?
Because they've told me.
Told you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I had to lower it this year, but my freshman year, yeah, it was.
Now,
yeah.
Are you ever – I don't see it too much. I mean, we all went to a lot of your games this year, but Are you one of those kind of sarcastic trash talkers on the court? Are you going to say some smack to some other players? Like they'll start talking to you and then you'll score on them and you'll be
Yeah,
sarcastic right back?
I kind of, when it comes to trash talk, I don't really trash talk that much. Every now and then, if it's like playoffs or heated, like I'll do a little something. But I like to just like stay quiet, probably make a funny face at them or like annoyed, but I like to let the game do the talking. So I'm not a huge trash talker.
Yeah, we've seen some pushing and shoving moments throughout the season last year. Are you the type of guy to get in there with the boys, or you maybe back away a little bit?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest guy, so I'll pretend like I'm gonna help, but I'm gonna let my bigger teammates.
I feel that.
Actually,
Yeah, let the big guys do it. Let the let the.
I know my role. I know my role. That's okay.
There we go. Going over to the NBA, you mentioned you were a Knicks fan. Obviously, unfortunately, they're not in the Orlando bubble. They've been bad for a little while now. But who's your pick to win it all this year? Personally, I'm a Laker guy. No, I'm not a bandwagon. I'm going to establish that with you right off the bat. I like them in the terrible days with Randall and Russell. But who's your pick to win the title?
Probably the Lakers.
Oh, thank you.
He's a big Lakers guy.
I was gonna say that.
Once again, you're
First
making his
country,
pick.
then the Lakers. Like you're just saying
Best
all the
friends.
right answers for him. Exactly.
Personally, don't get me wrong. I said in our previous episodes, I think I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers win it all because I mean they're a really good team too. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work out, and hopefully, I'm sure you're a big NBA guy. You're going to be tuned into the Orlando bubble.
Oh, absolutely. I think that the Lakers have the best chance, but I would also, it's not a hot take, but I would also love to see Russell Westbrook win a championship.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
speaking of which, Connor's a big Thunder guy. Now, we made a bet on the show. If the Rockets win the finals, I have to bleach my hair and go on like the television station and bleach my hair. So I really hope they don't win.
Yeah, so another good reason that Russell Westbrook should get a ring.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Another good reason. Another good reason. But
Hey,
Jayden, go ahead.
Listen, this season obviously there was a big delay from when COVID happened and everything started. I believe that was like mid-March or something like that, and now it's going to be July 31st, right? Have you ever had a moment like that, maybe in your career, where you did have that big break and you couldn't play for a substantial amount of time, and how did it affect your game?
Yeah, I think that there was one season where I ended up like breaking or like fracturing an ankle like before my senior season or senior or junior season. And it was tough because it was also the off season. So I got lucky. So I had time to come back. But I think now just having this gap, we haven't been playing like full or whatever and like scrimmaging and stuff, which is tough. But I've also been keeping myself busy. I know that it's terrible if we like stop playing for too long, and kind of using this like quarantine to get ahead of the rest of the league. Because I bet you there's some guys that are just like, all right, it's quarantine, may as well just like take the time off. But you also use it to like be productive and get better. So
Now,
I'm not worried about it. I just think, and I think the whole team too. I think everyone's on the same page with working hard during this. So.
yeah, now another question for you is we're going to see the Division III basketball season get cut a little bit, possibly, depending on how everything goes. Also with the NBA, do you think that there's going to be an asterisk with the NBA and whoever wins that? And if the NCAA has a problem, do you think there's going to be an asterisk as well?
You're saying like a championship?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You look in the record books, is there going to be that star right there saying,
that's tough. Because you're also like, because if you do put an asterisk there, you're like, they still had a good season. Like you can't just throw away all that hard work with like they didn't really win. I understand the standpoint, but
yeah,
I mean, championship's a championship.
And especially the NBA guys, they played the majority of their season.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you there. I don't think there will be.
Like did you see, I think it was Austin Rivers was the one who said that if there is an asterisk next to the NBA champion, whoever wins this year, it's going to be because this is one of the hardest championships won in recent history just because you have that layoff. Do you think that, granted, like obviously some teams like the Clippers who were load management heavy this year, they're going to take that time to recover, but there could also be some negative factors where it's like it's just a bunch of rust being knocked off in those 8 games that are crucial to some teams. Do you think that this could be like one of the hardest, like probably the toughest championship won?
Yeah, honestly, I could see that point just because it's so because beginning of the season, especially when you're like just starting, is like 10 times different than playoff basketball when it comes around. But that's because you're like in a rhythm. So I mean, I get that 100%. I think that they know that too. So they've been like putting in work. Like right now, they're all in their camps or whatever. But yeah, I do think it's underratedly hard. So the fact that there should be an asterisk is just kind of ridiculous.
Now, kind of as a follow-up, you just mentioned how playoff basketball is so different. You played in your first 2 NCAA tournament games in your collegiate career this year. What was the feeling in those 2 games? How are they different? Obviously, you had that huge win over Babson and then the tough loss to Swarthmore in the second round. But what were those feeling before the game? Did you have those butterflies that sometimes you usually didn't have? Can you take me through that?
No, I don't know. It was just like it didn't feel like a normal game because we also felt like we already accomplished so much, and we also knew like how good we were. Like I think our team started to come together at like the best time. I think towards the end of the season, we went on a winning streak. We weren't losing anytime soon. We knew we weren't losing anytime soon. So even from the Liberty League and then going into the NCAA tournament, I think we were excited. I also think like just scouting wise, everyone was on top of their game. We knew every play. We knew every player. We knew every person's strong suits, weaknesses, and I think because we knew it was the NCAA, I think we just like were over prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to NBA and you're a Knicks fan, at what point as a fan did you realize that you made a mistake?
Whoa, that's Connor. Come on, man. That's a little tough.
Oh, that's rough, dude.
Oh,
I don't know, dude. You can just say something mean.
What's the toughest moment? Hey, I'm a Thunder fan, so like trust me, like
Dude, the Thunder
4
are good,
MVPs.
though.
Yeah, but we've won 4 MVPs, no rings. So it's like I get enough from Dane. He's like yapping my ear off about the Lakers now they have LeBron. But what is the toughest moment that you've witnessed in Knicks history?
Oh, that's tough because there's so many tough moments.
you're not wrong. That's the thing.
Dude, it's honestly because the thing about being a Knicks fan is right now I'm mad that I didn't appreciate them with Melo. Like, even though we were like crappy or whatever, like, first off, the Knicks were in our prime the same time LeBron was in his prime with D-Wade. We didn't have a shot. So the fact that was our best years kind of stinks. Like with Steve Novak, Melo, Stoudemire.
Steve Novak, that Pablo Prigioni.
Not even mentioning Linsanity.
Iman Shumpert, Linsanity. Those are the good days. That wasn't the question, though. You asked about the bad
Those
times.
are the 2K11 days.
Oh, yeah.
Unstoppable. There you go. See?
Yeah.
Got to share the bad times, though.
Well, I could say the worst part was definitely – first off, every Knicks fan loves to hype stuff up, and I'm one of them. So when we went into the offseason talking about KD, Kyrie, Zion. So that was probably the worst.
Who do you want them to hire as their head coach, and who would you like them to draft in this upcoming season?
Honestly, I like what was the assistant coach that stepped in at the end of the season?
Oh, I think it was Miller. I think
Miller. Yeah.
Miller. Yeah.
I think he doesn't get enough credit. He did a better job. So honestly, coaching staff, I'm not even thinking about as much. Obviously, it's more about like the talent you have on your team, especially with the NBA, because everyone is just like really like if we don't have players to like take over, we can't do much, especially in today's game. But draft wise, I think it would be cool to get like LaMelo Ball or something.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
I've been saying Ball for the longest. Some people say Cole Anthony. I've never been a big Cole Anthony guy.
Yeah.
So
I think that Ball is also not like so high up, but also still an option for us to get. And then he would bring a lot of attention to New York just because of who he is.
yeah.
Listen,
As if the Knicks needed any more press, though.
I was like, I was saying though, Lonzo before COVID, he was balling. He was playing really well and starting to shoot the rock better. Like
his shot is so much better.
Exactly. Like so, there's potential. There's potential for his little brother too. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. He's got kind of those skinny things. So before we have a couple more questions, but Jayden, we do a segment on our show called Jayden's Jump Ball. and Jayden gives us a bunch of trivia questions. The questions now are for you. So, Jayden, take it away.
So usually I make it tough for them. I make them squirm a little bit. I'm not going to do it to you. I'm being nice. There's maybe a tough one in here. And there's also one here for you. So I want to see what you know about your own stats, all right? So you mentioned you could dunk. You can get up there. Looking at the NBA All-Star Weekend, what player holds the most dunk contest victories?
Vince Carter.
Give him another guess. Give him
Give me one more guess. Give me one more guess.
I'll give you a
You
clue.
had the right idea.
He was a New York Knick at a time. This guy.
I knew this. Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson.
Yeah.
Three. He
Yeah.
won 3, 06,
That was
09,
dumb.
and 2010. It's all right. Hey, it happens. I don't give them second chances, though. I'm never give them a second chance.
All right, no more second chances.
Who's the only non-American to lead the All-Star ballot for the NBA? The only non-American. So think international.
Yeah. To lead the All-Star ballot in voting?
In voting.
It's not recent. Don't go with it. It's not recent. Well, no.
It's
not.
this century.
It's recent. It's recent.
It's recent, but it's not super recent.
This century.
I have 2 guesses I'm thinking of. I'll go. Damn. Let me go Peja Stojakovic.
Incorrect. It's Yao Ming. I think you might have thought too hard on that one.
I was thinking too hard, dude. He's also one of the most underrated players. He's not getting enough
You
respect.
think so? Yao Ming is?
No. Peja.
All right. I feel that.
Stojakovic.
I feel
A
that.
lot of people forget about him. He's like on one of those NBA trivia, a lot of those trivia stuff, and like that I'll try and to prepare for his stupid questions. Like he'll give us, like if you watch one of our previous episodes, he did like zoom-ins of NBA players' tattoos, and we had.
You gotta guess
I
the
got zero. I got absolutely.
I think I won that one like 5-0
It was
it was so random.
Don't the Morris twins have the same exact tattoos?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, I think the
I'm not
most-
positive, but I think I saw something about that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Dane, he's all about the stats and like the on-court stuff. Like he could tell you the NBA champion back in like 1973, right? But you can't. You
I'm
show him a
just everything
tattoo,
else.
he's blind. You don't know nothing. So hey, this question is about you. So let's see how much you know. All right. Todd Hart is the program leading scorer with 1,789 points. How many more points do you need to break his record?
If he gets it within a certain number, we should
Well,
give
how
him.
many does he have?
He has 1,789 points.
Okay, so like 1,080 or something.
Oh yeah, like 1,075. I'll give you that one.
Give him that.
You
That's
must know your
impressive.
numbers good. You know your numbers good. You think you'll reach it? You think it could reach it?
I don't know about that. That's tough.
The offense is changing.
Yeah, no, it's changing. Yeah, that's tough. that is a lot of points.
714. On the post that we were having you on the show. 714 in 2 years. So they're only. I mean, you started to really rise up, get some of those 20-point games, 30-point games. Enough with the trivia questions, but when you get in that rhythm, like, is there just a feeling where you're shooting and you have this uber confidence and you know whenever I shoot, it's gonna go in?
Yeah. Or I know that I'm gonna take the most ridiculous shots trying to, because I know it's gonna go in. Like if I feel good enough and I think they're like, if I'm on my game, I'll probably take some more difficult shots. But yeah, but it's all, I don't know, just happens. You don't really think about it, and especially like being on the team that I'm on, we all know when someone's feeling it, so we know set each other up, which is just so much fun to play with.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, you guys lost 3 big pieces. You lost 3 starters that are seniors. Do you think you guys are going to repeat as either tournament champions or Liberty League regular season champions? Are you willing to say that?
Yes, that's the goal.
All right.
I think we got a good team. Everyone, we lose a lot, but we also have a lot. So I'm really excited what's going to happen. And these guys are just so much fun to play with. So
Do you think the youth factor helps you here? Because we had this big blowout conversation. One of our other shows is like we talked about the girls and that they were very top heavy and they got cut off right from the top, right? They lost O'Malley, lost a couple other heads, right? You guys, from what I remember, you guys were stacked almost all the way through. Like you can call on anybody in any level and say, hey, you can play for us, right? Do you think that youth factor is really a big help, or is it a difference that I'm not really seeing?
I think it's a help. I mean, I think that especially because my draft class, or not draft class, whatever, my class,
yeah,
I'm talking about too much NBA. My class was so big, like coming in, I think we had 7 recruits, something like that. Like we had a lot. We had a lot more than other grades. And the fact that we had so many kids at like that age starting out, and then we had so many guys to look up to and like teach us the way was so helpful, especially now. Like I think we gained our confidence a lot sooner because of how the upperclassmen and the older guys, kind of guided us. So I think having like a big, like a lot of young guys is huge for us. Just not even necessarily like next year, but the next 2-3 years, I think will be huge.
Team that you're really looking forward to playing next season?
Ooh, player or team? Definitely. Well, I mean, it's a toss-up between, like every team. I love playing Hobart just because there's just been a rivalry there. Just because we I don't know, we just always have their number. I think, and we went 0-2 against them in the regular season, and then we beat them in the semifinals, which was awesome. So Hobart, but then I also am excited to play RPI because they definitely have our number, and they got a lot of young guys. So I'm probably those two.
Skylar, I thought you were going to say Bard. Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, those
Bard,
guys.
Man. Tough team.
Bard's,
They in
Tough
warm-ups,
game.
dude. I thought they were going to knock you guys off in warm-ups. I'm not lying. They
No,
were
Scott,
They were making their layup lines.
into a game like Bard, right? What's your mindset like? Is it like, all right, I'm gonna drop 50 today, or is it like, all right, let me not get hurt? Like, what's the mindset there?
The mindset, you got to treat every game the same.
Okay.
Even Bard, Bard has some good talent, especially like younger. Like they have this one freshman who was injured most of the season, but when he started, he was averaging like 20, 21, something. Like he was good. They got young guys. Also, anything can happen, especially like recruiting. You get 1 or 2 good guys that can change your whole program around. But every game, just go in the same mindset. Just all right, let's win and get out of here, especially on away games. So, yeah.
Well, Skylar, we want to thank you for coming on the show. It's awesome for you to be our first guest. We look forward. Hopefully, you'll be able to play this season.
Yes.
Of course, Dribbling Around, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, comment, follow us. Follow Skylar on his social media, on Instagram, on Twitter. Again, Jayden Becker, Connor Glunt, Dane Richardson, Skylar, thank you very much. Let's head back to the show. Skylar, again, awesome. We want to thank you. Make sure, again, you follow him on social media. Can't ask for better, guys. He was amazing.
Superstar. I'm telling you, he's going to ball out. This is his season, man. This is his season.
Yeah, he's really going to lead this offense. He's going to do great things. Great interview. We're looking forward to everyone enjoying it, and hopefully we can have him on again in the future.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe some more Ithaca players coming. Look out for the social media. You never know. We did do a Jayden's Jump Ball and Skylar's interview, but, of course, we got to do a Jayden's Jump Ball for us every single week. Jayden, here we go again. Episode 6, Jayden's Jump Ball.
All right. Welcome to Jayden's Jump Ball. I'm your host, Jayden Becker, and today, once again, we're going to stay on the court, but this time it's more what is the name of the court and who plays there. Yes, we're talking about NBA arenas. Now and in the past. So, hey, I told you I was going to stay on the court. I told you we were going to stay on the court, and we did. So that is a fact. So I'm going to name the full name of the arena, right? And you just have to name the team that plays there or played there.
Okay.
Right? Seems
I go
simple
first because
enough.
I won last time?
Yes, you can go first.
Okay.
All right. First arena, the Pepsi Center. Who plays at the Pepsi Center?
The Denver Nuggets.
That is correct. The Denver Nuggets play at the Pepsi Center. Been playing there for a while, but they are the team that plays at the Pepsi Center. This is a former stadium, so they do not play there anymore, but they were known for playing there. Amway Arena. Amway Arena. Connor, this is for you.
Yeah, I have no clue, so I'm just trying to think of like teams that just moved. Sacramento.
Incorrect. Team that plays there is the
Wait, no.
Oh, I already said it.
Was it Orlando?
Yes, but I said the word Orlando. If you want to, all right, my fault. I didn't know we
actually
were doing
was
these
like, that
steals
was
here
down
today.
to 2. I was either going to pick Miami or Orlando, but I'm up next. Here we go.
Dane, this one's for you. The American Airlines Arena. American Airlines Arena.
Is that the Dallas Mavericks?
Incorrect.
Well, I have no idea because that was going to be my guess. Are you going to let me steal because you didn't let him, or is this just
Because I
gonna be-
didn't let him steal.
Yeah, that's fair.
Was it
That's
Miami?
fair.
I don't think it would be unfair. The team that plays that American Airlines Arena is the Miami Heat.
Yep, it was Miami.
I was
Connor,
thinking
this
that
one's for you.
2011 finals, so it's like I have no idea what Dallas plays now.
Well, all right, Connor's up.
This question's for you, Connor. The American Airlines Center. Who
Oh,
plays
this
at
is
the American
cruel.
Airlines
This is
Center? Not the American Airlines Arena. Miami Heat plays there. Who plays at the American Airlines Center?
Is this Dallas?
This is the Dallas Mavericks.
That is
American
the
Airlines
cheapest
two
thing.
two
Oh my
arenas.
God.
Hey, you never did listen. I saw that and I was like, hey, I've never realized that. It's just they changed the final word around
The amount of
that.
marketing American Airlines had during that one
Oh.
finals must have been
That
That was
absurd then.
harsh.
Yeah, right. Think about that. American
That's
Airlines just
harsh.
jumping back. Dane, this one's for you. Bankers Life Fieldhouse.
The Indiana Pacers.
Indiana Pacers. That one just so happened to land on you, and that name does not scream Indiana Pacers to me.
Yeah, how
So
did
I
you
felt
know
like
that literally like
Yeah.
as soon as he said that? You were the
Yeah.
fist up in everything.
Bro, when I focus on teams, I know everything about them except like tattoos and their wives and merchandise.
Merch, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's the score here? What's the score here?
2-1.
me, but how many more? Yeah, it's 2-1 me, but
He
Connor's
started,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, I have 3 more left.
Okay.
Okay, so Connor, this one's for you. This is a past stadium, and this one's might be we're getting a little bit more tricky in this area. So past stadium, Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
The Nets.
Yeah. The New York Nets back before they were the New Jersey Nets. You got it. You got it right in the head. Right in the head. That is out in Long Island in Uniondale. I think the Islanders don't even play there anymore.
No, I think they
The
just
stadium is
wrapped up playing there.
crazy, right?
So this is
I
like
used to
a
remember going there all the
You
time.
gave
That
Connor
was-
one that connects to hockey, so
Yeah,
he
yeah, it's
immediately
like-
gets
Hey,
that
I
one.
gave you the Indiana Pacers.
yeah. You got the
So-
Pacers. Calm down.
Next
All
one,
right,
Staples
next
Center,
one.
Madison Square Garden. No,
The Palace of Auburn Hills.
the Detroit
Palace-
Pistons. Malice at the
The
Palace.
Detroit Pistons. I did. If I just said the Palace, and that I felt like that was, if I put Auburn Hills there, it might have been a little trickier. But that is correct. That is correct.
Connor,
Good job.
pressure's on you. Last one.
Connor,
If you
this
get
is for
this
you.
wrong, you
Last
take a
one. This
fat
is
L.
also a previous stadium. Okay. The Bradley Center.
Good game, Dane.
Bradley Center.
Oh my god.
This one might not be as hard as you think. That I'll give you a hint. It was a recent change. Bradley Center.
How recent are we talking?
Pretty recent, within the last 5 years.
Oh crap. Who moved? It's not the team that I mentioned in the first round. I know that. Oh my gosh.
Fact check that. I'm
Atlanta?
I did the list this morning before I before I give you, I just want to make sure I've fact checked this correct because I did make this list this morning. So,
Did you hear my guess?
yes, I heard your guess.
Okay.
Is Atlanta your final answer?
Yeah.
Incorrect. It was the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks. They just closed down in 2018. So, wow, big. See, I told you the on-court stuff he gets, and that was technically it was on court.
I thought personally when he did the American Airlines one, I thought I had that with Dallas, but I didn't realize that Miami and Dallas were that.
I was that literally the last word of that's what makes it so.
The only reason why I know Detroit played at the Palace of Auburn Hills was that giant brawl with Ron Artest going into the stands. That's the only reason why I know the Pistons play there. Because I watch that brawl once every year just to make me smile. Not that doing that, going in the stands and fighting fans is good, but it's entertaining, Fighting is entertainment. Jayden's a big WWE guy, if you didn't know.
Yes, I've found my way back into the wrestling universe, and now I'm stuck again. So, welcome.
Comment below if you think Jayden should get ripped and become a WWE wrestler, because I think he really has the look. I think he has the
long
look.
hair. I can do it.
Transitioning outside Jayden's jump ball, we're going to NBA Best Trash Talkers. This one's all time, so you can pick anybody, and you got to explain why, of course. I'm going to start. Mine's a little bit of a surprise pick, but I'm going to go with Reggie Miller.
Ooh.
Of course, an Indiana Pacer.
What is up with you? It's I thought it was just current Pacer stuff. Why all just a Pacer franchise diehard now?
I'm a Laker fan. Note that. But at the same time, this guy was a really great trash talker, and I just remember, well, obviously I wasn't alive, but the moment when to Spike Lee, that guy had so much confidence shooting the ball, thought the ball was going in every time, and he's one of the most dead-eye guys, and he would hit it in your mouth, and he'd tell you about it. So I'm going to go with him. Obviously, Michael Jordan's a really good trash talker as well. Reggie Miller told a story in The Last Dance about that. But I'm going with Reggie Miller. What about you guys?
Jayden, you go first. I'm trying to find these quotes because there's just so.
Well, I have some of these quotes on the top of my head. So if you're going for the same guy, it might be tough. I'm going Kevin Garnett.
That's not the same guy.
Okay, I'm good. I think no one touches Kevin Garnett. The prime for me watching basketball, when I was young, was that when he was really beefing with the Knicks, and the Knicks are going that playoff run, the Celtics trying to go in the playoff run as well. We weren't going to do anything because the Heat was still around. But at the same time, those two are butting heads. Never forget, Kevin Garnett told Carmelo Anthony, your wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios. And that might be one of the meanest. Imagine someone come up to you and it says your wife tastes like a breakfast cereal. That is just
the thing is
next level of
he's
mental.
KG. So it's one thing if one random guy says that to you, you punch him in the mouth, right? But it's Kevin Garnett. You can't I'd take him over Melo in a fight, obviously. So
listen, he's called people cancer patients, and he's you're a cancer on my team. I think that was Charlie Villanueva. He said that too. So Kevin Garnett is just a monster when it comes to trash talking. There's a couple other people out there, of course, in the league, but when I think of trash talkers, the first thing that comes to mind is Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, I'm kind of picking a curveball for this one, and I don't think many people associate trash talking with this player, but Tim Duncan. It was a couple years ago whenever Kevin Garnett came out and said that Tim Duncan's trash talk was it was just the best he's heard because A, it was Tim Duncan, and B, quote, he didn't talk in sentences, he hit you in phrases. No gangster stuff. So it's imagine you just go up for a layup and he blocks you and all you hear is nice try, bud. And then I remember Steven Adams. Steven Adams, the first time he played Tim Duncan, he walked up to him at midcourt and was about to start trash talking him, and Tim Duncan just goes, "Good luck out there, bud." And like Duncan, and you can't trash talk that because it's like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
And then Duncan proceeds to go out and drop like 25 points, 10 rebounds, couple blocks. Is like you can't really trash talk Tim Duncan. He's just unbreakable. And then he hits you with these like three word sentences. It's just demoralizing.
Untrash talkable, if that's a word. You guys have a best trash talker in today's current game because we all went with retired players.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't really hear it as much anymore. More of it's the Twitter trash talking, you know? So it's not really the on-court stuff that we realize. It's a lot of the Twitter stuff. Back in the day, that's all we hear. It's all those stories.
We
right?
might.
That to the world.
We
might
now.
now. So we see maybe Pat Bev. Let's see how he. We all hear a good game. We all hear a good game. You know, everyone says things about him on the court being a pest and stuff like that. But I wish we could mic him up. It'd be a lot of censors for sure. ESPN might lose a decent amount of deals with that.
No, him and Draymond are definitely the two that flap their gums the most whenever just trying to get inside everyone's head. But like personally, I love a petty Russell Westbrook on the court whenever he's feeling himself in the game. And then he just like I remember whenever he was like back on the Thunder, he was just making so much fun of Lance Stevenson against the Lakers. Like I remember he blew him a kiss one time, did the air guitar celebration that he does. It's just rock the baby, anything. So Westbrook is probably like he's not the most prolific talker in the game, but once he starts to get petty, it's just grumpy and petty Westbrook. That's the perfect storm.
Can't go a whole show without making a 76ers reference, so I'm going to put in Joel Embiid as one of the better trash talkers, especially when he gets going in the post, but we're not going to trash
What is he going to do? Go in the post and then lose and then cry like a baby go to the back? Ooh, oh, sorry, Philadelphia. Once again.
Jayden with some heat to round out the show. That'll wrap up Dribbling Around episode 6. Make sure, if you like this video, make sure you give it a big fat like, subscribe, comment, give us a follow, anything you'd like. Make sure you tune in for episode 7. Probably should have another interview coming your way. Obviously not going to reveal it just yet, but make sure you tune in. Jayden Becker, Connor Glunt, Dane Richardson. Peace out.